Tennessee and Florida still battling for prospects across the board. So let's go ahead and get started with that right now. Let's start with athlete Cameron Michael, 4-star athlete, expected to be in Gainesville on Saturday. Likes Kentucky and Texas A&M, said he'll visit them this fall, and Tennessee. What can you tell me about him? And kudos to Caleb Giroux for the fantastic recruiting coverage on offthehooksports.com.
Well, right now he's projected to Georgia with 2 crystal balls. Here's why this game is so crucial for Tennessee. Here's why him being there is so crucial. Tennessee needs to take the swamp crowd out of it early so he finds the swamp boring. That's big. On top of that, if Tennessee beats Florida, they're in good position to at least be playing Georgia with a chance to win the East in November. If you can get him to Knoxville in November for a game against Georgia at home, Dave, I still maintain Tennessee's never, ever, ever had the chance to have the environment they're going to have at home against Georgia this November. And I'm going to say, I think if you do what you need to do throughout the season, that Tennessee-Georgia game, you might see Neyland compete for Death Valley in terms of loudness, because we've never seen a Tennessee-Georgia game with that. We've never seen a Tennessee game at Neyland in November with that type of atmosphere ever in history. Hasn't happened. And so it's twofold to beat. You want to beat Florida and you want to shut out the crowd so he's not interested. And then you want to try to get him on campus when you're playing Georgia with the crowd being what it could be.
All right. I want to get to a defensive lineman that Tennessee is very high on. Our recruiting coverage today brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Design. They want to be your jeweler looking for affordable game day jewelry. How about the Fire Opals, a Tennessee tradition? RickTerryJewelry.com, RickTerryJewelry.com. Amaris Williams, tell me about that Florida commitment and why he might look elsewhere.
Well, he committed in June, and I think the Amaris Williams commitment was one of those commitments that you talk about silent commitments. I think he did a silent commitment, and Billy Napier wanted him to make it public so Napier in Florida could get some leverage on the recruiting trail nationally, if that makes sense. I don't know if that means he's fully committed, though. So he might be interested in Tennessee, and if Tennessee plays well on Saturday and shuts out the crowd, he might rethink what he does, particularly on the defensive line. But if you guys are upset about Boo Carter entertaining Colorado, I don't want y'all to want Amaris Williams at Tennessee. You're a hypocrite otherwise.
Well, I mean, recruiting is all about being hypocritical. I mean, what's wrong with that? All right, who you got next? Who will be there?
Tight end Jonathan Eccles is going to be there. He's committed to Tennessee, made his pledge in July of 2022, but he goes to IMG Academy in Florida. Florida's still not giving up on him, and he's officially shut down his recruitment, but Tennessee still wants to maintain him. So that makes this game big.
All right. Who's up next as we talk a little bit of recruiting?
We got Amir Jackson, who committed to Florida the same week Amaris Williams. But again, Tennessee's targeting him heavily. He's also going to visit Miami and Florida. Miami and Auburn. The big key for Tennessee.
This is Amir Jackson. Not you said Amaris Jackson. It's Amaris.
No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Amaris Williams, Amir Jackson. Yes, excuse me.
Amaris Williams is the defensive lineman. Amir Jackson is the tight end. Go ahead.
The tight end. Yes. If Tennessee can beat Florida this weekend and beat them significantly, I think that at that point you could see him take some interest in Tennessee, and that's how they could land a visit. Again, if they can land the visit, I keep saying it, it's so crucial for Tennessee to be playing Georgia with a chance to go to the college football playoff and win the SEC East. You want to create that environment. That's going to be the best environment Tennessee was ever able to sell to recruits. And Amir Jackson is one of those players who you could get onto campus for that game if you take care of business against Florida and also South Carolina and Texas A&M. But
I'm going to dive into the Boo Carter thing for a second before we get to the last one that Tennessee can impress on the road, and that's Jordan Ross.
So Jordan Ross is committed to Tennessee out of Virginia. This was a big get, by the way. This was one of the biggest gets Tennessee could have gotten at the time. I mean, this was a sign of them really winning recruiting battles because they beat out Alabama and Texas for him. Florida was one of his top schools, and just to make sure he doesn't flip, Tennessee wants to play their guts out on Saturday and make sure that there's no doubt in his mind that he wants to be at Tennessee. This is where I said all week James Pierce and Tyler Barron should be eaten in this game. They should be having a field day. If they do, Jordan Ross is staying at Tennessee.
There you go. All right. A conversation on the message board that has to do with the recruiting. So I'm going to dive into this. And it's Boo Carter traveling to Colorado, pardon me, to check out the Buffs. Rocky Top Tom says, I don't want his bleep. Some of us out here have principles. He addressed that directly at you, John C., which is John Caleb Calhoun is Caleb's full name. Rocky Top Tom says, I want Boo Carter gone too. Get his butt out of here before he even sets foot on campus. Lance asks why. Rocky Top Tom then says, because he committed, now he's going and visits Colorado. It's disgusting. So it's not okay, but it is a fact in recruiting that a commitment is non-binding. Now, I'll just tell you, if it were my son, once you make a commitment, you don't visit, you don't even take phone calls from recruiting analysts. And here's the reason. It's not because you're slimming down your chances. First of all, you keep them all open. You don't commit till you're 100%. Is I don't want you thinking about college in your final year of high school. And I certainly don't want you getting the big head thinking I've already got this set up. So why do interviews afterwards? Now, if you're at an Under Armour All-American event or something like that, sure. I mean, that's one thing. But there's no talk of recruiting after that. That's if it's my son. I think that, and I could write a How to Get Your Son Recruited for Dummies book. I mean, I could very easily do that, probably in a long weekend. But as far as Boo Carter going to Colorado, I don't think it's an indictment of his character. But here is one concern, is that he has already switched high schools. And now he's going to Colorado. And Colorado is red hot. And I think he's enjoying the game a little bit too much. So I spoke in generalities, my philosophy of recruiting. But with Boo Carter, it wouldn't stun me at all if he ended up somewhere else. This could be a fun visit. It could be something that changes his mind, because I think we've all learned in just a couple of weeks, Deion Sanders, and with the coaches he's gotten, he can close with somebody. But I think if you're Tennessee, you're scared. It is what it is. I don't have a problem with him going out there. It's not what I would recommend if it were my son, Caleb.
I mean, I wouldn't do it either, but I don't have a big problem. I could see him committing to Colorado. Here's the thing. People get mad when it happens to their school, but they never complain when their school flips a commitment from somebody else.
Well, but I think, I'm a little bit above that. I mean, still, it's not the right thing to do.
We're not like Tennessee fans. We're covering Tennessee. So, but I'm just saying in general, if you get mad at a player for decommitting from your school and committing elsewhere, have the same energy towards a player who decommits from another school and commits to your school. For instance, I mean, Tennessee fans, which they never should have been. And by the way, there's a lot of factors that go into committing and decommitting. Let's bring up the brother of one of the people that we work with, Cade Mays. A lot of Tennessee fans got upset with him for committing to Georgia in 2017 after he committed to Tennessee. Well, he committed to Tennessee really, really early because he grew up a Vol fan. And then Butch Jones lost complete control of the program. Y'all expected him to stay committed to Tennessee at that moment? Of course he should have looked elsewhere. Same with Michael Penix Jr., who was also committed to Tennessee, and Adrian Martinez. And so, but if you don't go after other players and try to flip other recruits, you are handicapping your program. That's just as handicapping as Clemson not going after the transfer portal.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, and Spencer Riley, former Tennessee center, who joins us each and every Monday, he's got a player who's got a lot of offers but hasn't from Tennessee yet. Well, I can promise you, when Tennessee offers, or if he commits to Tennessee, then you're going to have Notre Dame, Michigan, a lot of other schools that have shown interest that are going to come calling. So that's just the way recruiting works. Sometimes you have to commit to get other schools to get on you. I'm not saying that's right. It's not the way I would play the game, but I at least get it. And now Boo Carter's not in that situation. He was an elite player. I believe there's somewhere and anywhere guys. Okay. The anywhere guys, though Boo Carter's one of those. He can go to any school he wants to. He can call up Southern California. Maybe they haven't recruited him at all. And he can say, hey, I want to go to your school. And they're going to say, there's a scholarship for you. He's an anywhere guy. So he's not in that guy. He's not a guy that needs a little extra attention to get a few more scholarship offers. So I don't think he should go to Colorado. I think he should be 100% committed. And if he's not, he should have waited. But let me defend the kid for a second, too. What if Tennessee said to him, we have 4 spots for cornerbacks available, which I think he's going to play when he gets to Tennessee, and 3 are taken. I'm not even looking at the recruiting list right now. I'm just saying that. What if they put a hard press on him? Then you take the commitment. But if I'm Josh Heupel, I'm not considering it a hard commitment if he's taking visits. That's just the way the game's played. I covered recruiting for a lot of years, and that's the way the game's played. It's certainly not perfect and can get downright dirty.